Agent Dumbernome reporting. The trip was mostly uneventful. However, arrival date was off by a decade, which was to be expected. The year is 2016 on their calendar. The locals are friendly, mostly. There are certain behaviors that they do not appreciate, and we are investigating. The biologists have provided a more than suitable vessel for us. The non-aggressive mid-30s human male will provide great opportunities for observation without attracting too much untoward attention. The speech patterns are a tiny bit difficult to grasp, but we are going to make a compensation for that. The dwelling units that were provided upon exchange of local currencies are more than adequate. There are 2 sleeping units equipped with very primitive pressure relief material technology. They do not have anti-gravity on these sleeping units. However, we have been here for a full 7 days, which they call a week, and muscle tension is particularly good considering the parameters of this era. The fashion historians provided suitable attire, considering the lack of aggressive behavior from the locals, which is a great improvement upon the previous mission. So please convey my gratitude towards the team for that. The dwelling is equipped with a miniature rainfall simulator, which has a surprisingly high customization factor. We are talking angle, pressure, temperature, and concentration. And this is supposed to provide cleanliness and muscle tension relief. We have been using it quite extensively until the hot water reserves are expired, which comes as an inconvenience, but there appears to be a limit per time period for these devices to work. They need to refill themselves, apparently. We should investigate further with that. This is an interesting limitation. We should perhaps discover the reason behind it. They do not seem to have much in the way of renewable energy, but they are studying them and applying them occasionally. It is quite surprising. We expected them to be more advanced by now. There is a particular addiction to a brown, hot liquid substance, which we sampled this morning, and we are quite frightened by the physical effects they provide. This liquid provides heart palpitations and a constant level of alertness. It is startling to see everything at such a high frequency. We shall avoid this substance from now on. It is taking our peace away. There is another substance, however, that we have to investigate further. It is a yellow-orange liquid with fiber content, which provides the user with a sense of playfulness and provides extra levels of energy throughout the following hour. It is called orange juice, we must bring some back, restoring calm. The dwelling units are equipped with several lighting fixtures which surprisingly have an extra feature which is auditory in nature, a frequency, a vibrating frequency that is barely audible, provides the inhabitant with a sensation of calmness and distraction. It is, in fact, difficult for me to focus for the duration of this report. I have a difficult time remaining in the moment and providing the information which is required by my trade. There is a large entertainment screen called a television in the middle of the room upon a wall facing opposite of the bed. A bed is a sleeping unit. The entertainment unit is supposedly providing information, but 93% of the information provided has been deemed inaccurate by the database we have already on file. So I have much confusion towards this device and its true purpose. There is a suspicion that it may be used for population control, mental control of the population, in fact, could explain the pervasive presence of these screens, not only into the dwellings, but at places of business and even out of doors in the streets, on the buildings, and within public transportation. So we will keep observing these people and their reactions towards these screens, because they seem to be affected in subtle yet continuous ways. I find myself mesmerized by these flashing screens. They have bright colors and shiny, attractive images, and it is very hard to look away from the screens, which are everywhere. And then the eyes get dry, and we must remember to close our eyelids to wash off the dust particles from the eyes. They call them eyes, these ocular biological units. So we have experienced a local delicacy category nutrition. Yes. And they are called spoons. They are high in iron content and quite difficult to reduce to particle sizes that can be absorbed by this human body, and the enameled mechanical transformers within the mandible area are apparently not too efficient at the task. So further investigation is required. The internal bleeding does not seem to be a desired effect of consuming spoons. Thankfully, the regeneration device functions properly even within this era, so we have addressed the issue before it attracted too much attention. There is a complimentary breakfast provided within the price of the rented dwelling, and on this part of this breakfast is a liquid called orange juice. It is wonderful. We need to bring orange juice back with us. There is something in this liquid which provides the user with a sense of playfulness, which is also a type of euphoria which I have never experienced before. Just reminiscing about it makes me want more orange juice. Please bring back orange juice. Restoring calm. There is an interesting feature in this rented dwelling called a closet. It is a smaller room within the main room, which provides much needed darkness and silence. However, I am confused by the presence of a horizontal metallic bar suspended above the closet, which hosts a series of triangular wooden and metallic devices, which upon entering collide with the user's head, providing much noise and skin discomfort. Perhaps this is a preparation strategy to, by contrast, demonstrate the calming benefit of the quiet place. Further investigation is recommended. I recommend other agents investigate for themselves and discreetly inquire about the function of the closet. There was some apparent discomfort at my questioning of the staff members of the hotel, which is the name of the building in which this rented dwelling unit is located. These staff members were apparently perplexed and perhaps even a small percentage of alarmed at my inquiring about the porcelain lake within the dwelling itself. There is a artistic rendition of a lake or pond within a ceramic vessel, which can be renewed at the press of a button. The water is filtrated and has a strange aftertaste. There were no kneeling cushions to provide comfort while drinking, so maybe it was forgotten by the housekeeping or maintenance crew I will have to ask about this. There is a different lake simulator, this one is equipped with a miniature stream, and it appears to be at mid-chest level or lower. I have seen it lower in other dwelling units and public places. And this is apparently to wet the skin of the human. So I activated the miniature stream and directed the water droplets towards my face, and there was much joy, but the moisture levels were increased. I have noticed a change in the atmosphere. Perhaps the radioactive levels have increased. Thankfully, we are immune to these fluctuations. I wonder how the local population copes with this. It seems to be a sensitive subject matter, so we must approach the subject carefully. I recommend the same care be taken by colleagues, of course. There is a question I have about transportation. Upon arrival, we found ourselves in a square area which was frequented by people of different priorities. Some were walking, some were running, some were walking or running at different speeds. Many were carrying electronic devices and not paying attention where they were traveling, causing much discomfort for themselves and others. Perhaps they had some kind of trauma and needed these devices to help them walk around. Must investigate about that. There were quadrupeds as well. Quite a few quadrupeds in a green area. The quadrupeds were extremely playful and seemed to be quite fond of the human population. And the human population, in return, seemed to also be fond of them, but in a more dominating way. That confused me. The quadrupeds were obviously of a higher intellectual level. I should ask them about that. There was a commerce which is called a bakery. It contains extremely surprising nutritional supplements, the most impressive of which are called cookies. Now, this is me expressing myself in the mode of calmness, but when I experienced the cookie, it changed my existence forever. We must bring cookies back with us. Tell everyone to investigate and bring samples of all the cookies. I repeat, all the cookies. Restoring calmness. going to visit a local event, a celebration of what they call literature. It is called a book fair, and the humans worship storytelling and information sharing in the form of printed information. Now, I am aware that this might be a quite unusual term, so the description of such a device is a two-dimensional unit of fibrous material, which is mostly and unexpectedly based in wood pulp, when obviously another type of plant fiber would be more suitable and more abundant on this, especially at this era. But apparently the industry has yet to realize the importance of renewable and fast-growing crops for fiber material. I digress. The books, which they are called books, are two-dimensional sheets of the fibrous material called paper. Upon the paper is information in the shape of deposited microscopic droplets of a coloring matter called ink, which can be applied in various ways by machines, and a collection of sheets within stronger sheets or hard surfaced thicker sheets is what is called a book. Now, this primitive device is non-electrical. It requires no other power than visible light. It can be used in most weather conditions. However, water does damage the pages somehow. The pages are the two-dimensional sheets, and the information may be corrupted or more difficult to access, considering the fiber material will tend to undulate upon drying, thus creating a book situation that cannot anymore be neatly closed as flat as it used to be able to. So this would be a setback, but barring heavy rains, this book provides instantly accessible information if one user is patient. The absorption of such information is through the ocular equipment, and if one is not equipped with a quick interpretation processor, then the speed of absorption is as inefficient as speech. So for quick access, one would require a different storage process. Yes. Somehow this antiquated method of information sharing is still quite popular in the 21st century of their calendar, and this is why we are going to investigate it, the team and I, tomorrow, after a much required sleep session. The human body is apparently in need of restoration after this 21-hour exploration session throughout the city. There was much to be seen, but the legs eventually gave out, which is an expression I learned today. The kind gentleman who helped me stand up and sit for a while, he said, provided me with much enlightenment about the need for sustenance and rest for a healthy and long life. So, upon departure, the individual provided us with a greeting that I wish to convey to you. Please archive it. He expressed his need to depart and his joy at our meeting with this, "See you later, man." I did not schedule a meeting with the man, but maybe he has precognitive abilities. We shall discover that soon enough if later qualifies as within a week. Otherwise, I still do not understand his statement. Anyways, this would be my report for this first week of stay in the 21st century. I hope that this will have been useful for the evaluation committee to provide us with more time to investigate further. There will be I believe, great benefit in our bringing back some of the forgotten information and customs of this long ago era. However, I am very grateful that some of their customs no longer apply to our time, because the barbarism of some of it is quite staggering. I shall explain later when I have reached a level of further understanding. Let's just say that there are certain unusual shops that provide silicone-based spare body parts which do not seem to have any biological connection methods. So one is a little bit confused about the use of such silicone facsimiles of human body parts. I shall investigate. Upon this note, I wish you a good night, which is another greeting I learned. Good night, sleep well, and bite the bed bugs, for they are nutritious. Umber Gnome, out.